Welcome back everybody to another market analysis video. Today we're going to be talking about gold as well as dollar, and we're just going to quickly go over a few fundamental events here. But before talking about the fundamentals, let's actually do some top-down analysis here on gold, taking a look at it from the daily all the way down onto the 1 hour, so that way we can see what are some of the best zones that we're going to be able to use and trade based off of. So the first thing we're going to do here is obviously take a look at the bias that we're going to choose. Overall, as you can see, like we've been mentioning in the past couple of analysis video, we've been bullish on gold. We've understood very well that from a fundamental standpoint, that Fed rate cut narrative has not changed. So because that's such an important factor here, like for example, when taking a look at gold, then we knew that overall, as long as those fundamentals didn't change, gold should remain bullish. All we needed was for this to happen, basically, which happened last week. We had some pretty strong upside moves, finally breaking above this range, and as you can see, now making new all-time highs. So we don't really have too many zones to mark off other than, like, looking at it on the daily, of course. Some zones that are a little bit far, we're not going to actually mark those off just yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at like the 4 hour. We do have some resistance, it seems like, over here close to the all-time highs. So that's something that we can mark off. And then we do have a support just around this area right here. So again, taking a look at like the daily and taking a look at the 4 hour, like as you can see, again, not any sort of areas that you can really trade based off of, because price action has been so impulsive and so bullish, right? Now let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 hour here. So we do see a few more zones. Whenever you guys see, like for example, these types of things, like daily time frame is too strong, 4 hours are going to be too strong. Even sometimes on the 1 hour, it's also too strong. All you simply gotta do, at least what I like to do, is I like to go down into the lower time frames. So if I gotta use the 30-minute, I gotta use the 30-minute. But again, if I have to look out for whatever zones the markets are making for me. So just gonna mark off this support over here. This minor resistance just seemed like price got into this area, created a minor range, and then overall continued towards the upside. And then over here, let's see if we can maybe adjust this a little bit. I feel like I'm going to mark off this support, right? Because we have candle bodies over here closing, confirming that this is a support for us. And then here, although the candle bodies are a little bit higher, I wouldn't want to leave all of this kind of just open there in case price is going to come here, probably reject, and then end up just continuing. You get me? So I much rather just mark off the low. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll mark off the low. And so that way we can be careful with it. This is kind of like, you could say, a general area where price kind of just came to multiple times already, and it's continued to bounce, it's continued to reject on towards the upside. You can see rejections here, like any failures to really continue lower. Here also failed to continue lower, it just continued towards the upside, and again here still reacting, right? So we do see that it is pretty clear. And then we also have a zone just around here. Seems like price is kind of creating a lower time frame order block around this area. If we were to take a look at that on the lower time frames, again, you can see there is a little bit of indecision within this range, but still pretty large. Like if we were to look out for trades here, like this is the area that we were trading from in this morning's live, looking for buys from that support. So again, it did give us some pretty clean ranges to play with, and those ideas played out quite well, right? So we have our top-down analysis. We can see it very clearly from a technical perspective. Gold is bullish on all time frames. Whatever time frame you want to look at, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, it's been bullish. I've been telling you guys that gold is bullish from a technical perspective. We were just really stuck within this range, kind of price just really creating this intraday range, making it a little bit choppy for us traders. But again, we were able to take advantage of still some good moves, and luckily now we've finally been able to break out of that, confirming that fundamental analysis that we've had for gold, it has been playing out well. So now that we have our zones marked off, let's actually go ahead and pull up this economic calendar right here. So we have the economic calendar. There wasn't really too much today of any really important data to look out for, other than this one right here, which just came out a little bit optimistic, but it didn't really have too much of a strong impact in the markets. And so again, we did the analysis. We have our technical set. Now let's take a look at the fundamentals here. We have economic data tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We do have retail sales to look out for. And let me see here if we have anything else. And just, I would say the Fed Logan speech one to look out for. But overall, I feel like markets are going to be mainly focusing on this retail sales. But we have here on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern hours, you see that we have that Fed interest rate decision. And then 30 minutes afterwards, you see that we have the Fed press conference where Powell comes out and basically answers questions, delivers a statement. And so again, we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. But let's focus for now on the retail sales and what we have here. Like for example, when taking a look at these technicals. So again, if we were to just look at this from a technical perspective, very clear, we can easily say, okay, we should be looking out for buys, but we should never really just marry one specific bias, especially when an asset class like gold at this moment is so overvalued, right? And so the reason I say that is because again, if you were to, let's say for example, after getting all of these, so we have over here, as you can see, price making all-time highs and really just peaking into these areas. Let me move this resistance just a little bit higher. I'm gonna move it right there so that way we can get these candle body rejections right there. So again, let me make myself clear. If we continue to have rejections of these all-time highs, as we did already in these last couple of, I don't want to say last couple of sessions, but let's just say in the past day. The past day from Monday, again, this was also on Monday, this was during New York session this morning. You can see that price is failing to continue any higher. So comparing that price action, so for example, this impulsive price action here, you can see very easy moves towards the upside. There's really nothing else to do than look out for buys when you're seeing price do this type of move, right? But now we've peaked into these highs, and now that we're starting to get a little bit of a range being created, I would look out for potential pullbacks if, let's say for example, price is to stay below 25.84. If we stay below 25.84, but most importantly, we got to be breaking back below that 25.78 area right here. And if we can close below that, then I would expect for price on gold to do some pullbacks. But now let's ask ourselves an important question from a fundamental standpoint. How can this happen? Like, what is going to be able to, let's say, help us do a deeper pullback, right? I would say with the retail sales that we have tomorrow, let's say we get data tomorrow for retail sales coming out and it comes out super bad. We get some negative figures. All of the retail sales come out below the consensus, below the forecast. Then what that's going to do is that's going to push more of that narrative that the Fed could do a 50 basis point rate hike, or excuse me, a 50 basis point rate cut. And if that's going to be the case, then gold, I would expect it to just continue towards the upside, especially if we can trade above this 25.78 area. That would be the type of price action and possibly even breaking into these all-time highs, only in my opinion, if we get to see those very bad retail sales figure, right? And so those are going to be some of the main ideas, right, that I'm going to be taking a look at, right? I'm going to look out for continued buys above 25.78, continued buys above 25.84. And again, if we are just going to be breaking above all-time highs even before retail sales come out, then again, overall, remember, intraday analysis, we're bullish. Fundamentals, they're still bullish. I'm just throwing out speculations and potential moves that we could see once we get below or stay above some of these zones that we have listed off.